Hello, everyone, and welcome to Against the Slavers. We are going to be running this in the role-playing game Old School Essentials. So we are kicking it old school here on the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet is an online role-playing community. We run over 100 games. We run over 100 games a month. Mostly focus on indie games, story games, and the old school Renaissance games, and this game is very solidly in the latter camp. We're going to be using Old School Essentials. For those who are not familiar with Old School Essentials, it is a retro clone of the 1981 edition of the Basic and Expert set by Tom Moldvay. And the Old School Essentials classic rules tome is basically, it's a recreation of the D&D rules cyclopedia that was published in 1983. 83? Anyway, I think it was 83. We're going to be playing the adventure. Tonight we are going to be starting play of Dungeon Module A1, Slave Pits of the Undercity, which is the first module of the Against the Slavers City adventure series, which was written for Advanced Dungeons and Dragons back in the year 1980, and was run as a tournament in Gen Con 13. So before we get too far ahead, a couple of words about myself. My name is Mike Ferdinando. My pronouns are he, him. I've been playing with the Gauntlet for, I think this is my 4th year now. I've been GMing for 3 of those years. I really enjoy playing with the Gauntlet, and I've met a lot of really cool people before. In fact, I know I have played with at least 3 of you in the past. Joe, I'm not sure if we've played together or not.
I don't think so.
Got it. So I have been playing tabletop role-playing games for a long time. In fact, I started playing the year after this one was published, and I played through this as a player back in the 80s. At least I played through this module, and I played through the 4th module in the series back in the 80s. I don't think I ever played the modules 2 or 3. But yeah, I've back in the 80s, I played a lot of D&D. Back in the 90s, I mostly played GURPS. In the aughts, I played a lot of Amber Diceless role-playing, and then I got into 3rd edition. Then I got into 3rd edition D&D, and the teens, I played a lot of Pathfinder until 2015 when I got when I fell into a group that was playing Dungeon World, which opened my brain to a new way of playing games. The past several years, I've mostly been playing a lot of PBTA and other indie games, but my interest in recent years has been where indie games and OSR games kind of collide. But I've explored PBTA a lot the past few years, and I figured it was time to go back to the roots and do some good old OSR stuff. So I've been talking a lot. Let's go clockwise around as I have you on my screen here. Jim, would you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey, I am Jim Crocker. I run and play a whole lot of games on the Gauntlet and other places. If you recognize me from outside these Gauntlet videos, it may be because you bought a game from me at some point. I'm a retailer of hobby tabletop games, indie games, mostly with my work with my friends at Indie Press Revolution. And I do conventions all up and down the East Coast. I do Origins every year, Gen Con, the PAXs, stuff like that. So that's kind of been my vocation for many, many years. I owned some comic and game stores for a decade and a half, closed those down luckily before the pandemic started, or they would have closed down when it started. So, I think I've been like Mike. I bought these modules as they originally came out, and we played through them. I've probably owned them in 3 or 4 different iterations throughout the years, including like when they did like a mega module, they collected them all together and stuff like that. The conversation we were having before was that I'm not sure whether I should take credit or accept blame for Mike running this for us, but I'm really looking forward to it. I'm sure that we will all have fun. I know Tim and I, this is the 2nd game Tim and I have been in this week. So we've also got we're in the other D&D game that they're running on the Gauntlet on Monday nights. So getting my fill of the heroic fantasy for a couple of months here. Looking forward to it. Should be a lot of fun. If you're interested in reading about me talking about games, I'm on Twitter at Jim Likes Games, just like it sounds. And I've got a Substack newsletter and stuff like that. You can find out all about that if you follow me on Twitter.
Well, thanks, Jim. Harry, would you say a few words about yourself?
Sure. I'm Harry Coins, he, him pronouns. I'm a semi-new member to the Gauntlet, been playing for about, I think, three or 4 months, somewhere around there, and been playing a lot of cool games. And I played a couple with Mike, and I think he even ran Final Girl for me, so that was really cool. Gaming-wise, I'm old school. I've been playing D&D for like 35 years, so back then I played pretty much everything except for this adventure combo. I pretty much hit every single thing else. So when this popped up, I was like, hey, that's right up my alley. So I'm excited to see a throwback to the basic expert edition, which is a little bit slightly different than AD&D, but I think it'll be fun.
Well, fantastic. Glad to have you aboard. Joe, would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Joe, he, him. Yeah, I cracked open the red box a long time ago. So I've played a lot of D&D and those things in the past. And then I got out of gaming for a long time. And so I've been playing again for 2 or 3 years on the Gauntlet for middle of last year, maybe, or so. And played a handful of games. And so I'm kind of stoked to, this is like back to your roots sort of thing. So I'm excited. So, and ready to get killed, I think, maybe, in true spirit of the game. I figure I can't make a bad character choice because there's a fairly decent chance that I'll be playing a different one by the time the game is over. So
the joys of old school gaming. Yes. Thank you very much, Joe. Glad to have you aboard. And Tim, would you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, my name is Tim. My pronouns are he, him. I've been playing games with the Gauntlet for close to a year now. The very first game I played with the Gauntlet was Trophy Gold with Mike. That was back like last March, I think. So I've had a fun time playing lots of different games on the Gauntlet. Off the Gauntlet, I think my main interest has been Dungeons and Dragons. So when I came of role-playing game age, it was edition 3 or 3.5. And so I only ever actually interacted with earlier versions of the rules by playing the Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 games, which used on the computer, which used the AD&D 2nd edition rules. But I've been very interested in, as Mike kind of alluded to, the sort of a new OSR, kind of the games that maybe have the principles of old school play, but have a lot of sort of rule innovations and things, so things like Morkborg or the Black Hack and so forth. Anyway, and I've been able to read quite a bit about the rules of like BX, but this will be my first time actually playing it, so bear with me. But yeah, I'm excited to play and kind of see how the rules play out in actual play, and excited to play with you guys.
Well, glad to have you all aboard. I'll talk a little bit about myself, and this is the first time I've run Old School Essentials. This is also the first time I've gone back and run a true D&D retro clone since the term retro clone came a thing. The last time I played one of these games was back when I played like Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 2nd edition back in the early 90s. So I may be a little rusty. So I'm going to have my book here. I may be looking up rules. I'm hoping it's going to be like riding a bike, and that old like really deeply buried stuff is going to come back up. But we'll see. And if anyone thinks that I'm not doing, if people know these rules better than I do and think I'm not doing it right, please feel free to call me on it. I don't mind rules lawyering as long as you're good natured about it. So, so we've talked about this game a little bit. Let's get a little more formal. Whenever I start a game, I always like to start with a discussion called CATS, which stands for concept, aim, tone, and subject matter about the game we're going to play. It's a little kind of pre-safety tool thing I like to do. It's a technique I picked up from the Gauntlet. It's a way to make sure that now that we're all here, make sure that we're all on the same page to play the same game. So the concept of this game was really to let's go back to our roots and do some old-fashioned, like old school gaming. The concept of this is, we're going to be, we're going to be playing old school, where opposed dice rolls and descending armor class with THAC0 and a 40-year-old module. And I do want to say this is a 40-year-old module that comes with 40-year-old attitudes. I was going through this a few weeks ago, and there's a lot of kind of problematic content that probably wouldn't be printed in that format if it were to come out today. It uses some really old attitudes. It uses some problematic language in places as well. At first, I was going to take some time and basically, rewrite sections of it. And then I just decided, well, one other thing about it is parts of it make no logical sense at all in terms of how the dungeon is, parts of the dungeon are designed. And I was going to try to redo it to make it more sense. And I was like, wait a minute, that's not old school. Let's just more or less run it straight. If I have gone ahead and highlight things that I think are problematic, and I'm going to try to change language. I'm going to try not to stumble over it. I'm going to apologize ahead of time if I use language, if I'm just reading something and the words come out of my mouth before I had a chance to edit it. I'll apologize. We'll X-card it. I'll edit and rerun it again. So I just want to say that because we are running a 40-year-old module, I'm running it straight as printed. I'm going to try to edit it as I go, but I may mess up. Anyway, that's the concept of the game. We're going to kick it old school. The aim is to tell a rollicking good time and to scratch our nostalgia itch of playing like we did back in the early 80s. So the concept of I'll just tell you the more of the concept of the game is so there are you've been hired to go investigate, well, not so much investigate. There have been slavers, and they've been kidnapping people and along the coast and bringing them to this, bringing them somewhere and selling innocent people into slavery to the evil the evil humanoids and or the evil human empires that are in other parts of the world. Slavery is is completely not tolerated in this part of the world and is considered a horrible evil. You have been assembled to go and rescue the captives and put an end to the slavery ring. The tone, I want to keep this mostly serious. I mean, there's some humor in here. There's some humor. It's going to be an OSR game, so it's going to be much more exploration. I'm going to, as a GM, or hey, this is D&D, as a dungeon master, I'm going to be probably I'm going to be probably have a much heavier hand than I tend to be. And so if you've played with me when I've been running more modern games where I throw narrative control to the players, I'm not going to be doing that nearly so much anymore. Because this is from the days where you were there to explore what was written, what the GM has prepared. If we go off script, we go off script. That's cool. I'm pretty good at innovating, but yeah, if you've played with me in the past and I regularly toss narrative control to you, I'm probably not going to do that so much because that's not really the nature of an OSR game. This is going to be a game of this is going to be a game of exploration. It's going to be a game of resource management. It may be hard to if you run out of stuff, you may need to do some scrounging and make do with improvised stuff because this isn't Dungeon World. You can't like scratch off one use of your adventuring supplies and have what you need. If it's not on a character sheet, you don't have it. Which is something I normally don't like, but that's definitely the flavor of in gaming in general. But that's part of the charm of an old school game. And subject matter I already talked about. This does involve slavery. Slavery is bad. It is evil. These are really bad people, and we're going to try to like rescue the captives. Normally, in many games I will line or veil slavery, but that's kind of like that's not the subtext to this. That's the text to this, and it's the words the words right there on the title. So that's not really something we can effectively line or veil. And yeah, so this is going to be this is going to be an old school dungeon delve. That was kind of rambly because I usually prep this ahead of time. Any questions about cats before we move on? Fantastic.
Oh, you know what? I guess one brief question, which is that something that Joe alluded to, which is I think the social contract for this in terms of like you're not going to tell us we can't play our characters anymore is different than it would be for like Dungeon World or something like that, where we get to, you can you play chess with death or whatever and stuff like this. And that I presume you're not going to like, are you going to go easy on us or do we get the opportunity? Like if our characters are dead, are they dead? Are we only all dead if there's a TPK? How does it work? Like if we go into the first fight and it bums 0 hit points, we're immediately making a new character. What's the deal with that?
That's a good question. Like as written, if you get to 0 hit points, you're dead. One thing I meant to like pull out is there's a mechanic from the game Mork Borg, which sort of which I kind of like, which is if you like there are no negative hit points. If you get to 0 hit points, you roll a d4. And if you get a 1, you are actually dead. But if you get a 3, 4, if you get a 2, 3, or 4, we consult this table, and you can return to the action. That sound good? Doing that? I'll pull my copy of the Mork Borg rules out. And if people get killed during the game, I, as the GM, will present an opportunity to like bring in a new character.
Cool. Yeah, as long as players, as players, we're not like having to sit out half an hour or something like that if our character gets killed. I guess that's more my concern than anything else. After we've made 2 or 3, it'll be quick we'll get quick at making new ones. So like I'm less worried about that, but just wanted to make sure I understood where we stood with the social contract and how that was going to work as we play.
Yeah, I find it is not fun for you to be sitting like idle, not doing anything for long periods of time. So if a character does get killed like for real in the game, the rest of us will go on a little bit. You can take some time to like build a new character. We'll pause. You can give us the elevator pitch of what this new character is, and then I will at the absolute earliest opportunity introduce the character, even if that's like we come around the corner and like, hey, there's another character there who just happened to be on the same mission and had gotten there and it was only there like half an hour before you were.
And I guess if we're going to be encountering a whole lot of people that are imprisoned, enslaved, pressed into labor, then maybe that guy you take the chains off of turns out to be really good with an axe or something like that. That seems like there's a lot of opportunities for that kind of thing.
That's exactly what I would likely be doing, is incorporate that into incorporate the new character into the ongoing story. So the characters in an OSR game are definitely more fragile than they are. They have far less plot armor than characters tend to in other games. So it would not surprise me if you may be running 2, possibly 3, possibly more characters before this game is up. Any more questions on cats and setting the tone and rules and whatnot? Okay, cool. So next thing I want to talk about is our formal safety tools that we'll be using. I sent a link out to everyone for the safety and resources tab. And if you're on Roll20, there's a handout that says safety and resources. It just has a link to the Google Doc. So if you could head over to the Google Doc, and it's only got three tabs. So the first one is, and the important one is safety and resources. And if we're all there, so a little talk about safety. So we're a bunch of strangers or near strangers. I've played with some of you. I've played with a number of you before over the years. But we're a bunch of people that are getting together over the internet to play a game. And the point of this game is to have fun. Each of us individually is more important than this game we're coming together to play. Safety tools or safety practices are a way that we can try to make sure that we're having fun. Each of us as individuals have very different life experiences and have dealt with things that others may not have had to deal with. What is absolutely what you might find totally okay to deal with or to talk about, I might have some serious problems with, and vice versa. So when we use safety tools, we're acknowledging that we have different life experiences and different subject matters may mean different things to us. And so these tools are a way that we can kind of like put some bounds around things that we know might be pitfalls, and also have some tools that we can pull things back from the brink if we do go into dangerous waters. How's that for mixing metaphors? So we're going to be using a three-layered approach here. So the first tool that we'll be going to be using is called the open door policy. Open door is really simple. This one is about your personal physical comfort. And that means any of us can come and go as we please to this game. If you need to leave for whatever reason, step out. So if you want to call a break for any reason, anyone can call a short break at any time for any reason. If you've decided that this game, if we start playing and you decide that this game is not for you, absolutely fine. Let us know. We'll wish you well. Take the rest of your evening off, and we hope we can game again. We hope we can try a different game together at some point in the future. If you need to step away to like clear your head, whether it's something in the game or if it's something out of the game, like you realize your dog has just hopped onto the dining room table and has knocked a vase over, and you need to go deal with that. Go deal with that. That's real life. That's more important than this game we're playing. And that's open door in a nutshell. Anyone have questions about open door? The second tool we're going to be using is a proactive tool called lines and veils. As I said earlier, each of us have a different set of life experiences, and subject matters that might be cool for one person might not be so cool for somebody else. This is a technique that we can use to call out those subject matters that we find problematic in some manner, and we'll put some bounds around them. So a line, if a subject is lined, that means it won't happen in the game. I won't introduce that element. Other players won't introduce that element. If the element existed because I'm running a printed module, if that element existed in the module, I will do my damnedest to remove it or change it to something else. A veil is something that we can acknowledge happens in the world. We may see signs that it happened. We may hear stories about it happening. Or it may be something good that we just don't want to see, we know is around, but it's not going to happen. So if something is veiled, it will not happen on camera, and it won't happen to one of the player characters. If a veiled subject comes up, we're going to elide it. We're going to keep it in the past, or we're going to fade to black and then move on after it's over. So I've got a list on our sheet of a number of topics that people often wish to line or veil, and I'm going to give everyone a couple of minutes to check that off. And I am also going to pause the recording in case anyone wants to talk about it, because talking about lines and veils isn't really for public discussion. It's just for us. So recording is paused now. Okay, we have established lines and veils, which we will be using in the game. One other thing I do like to mention that isn't exactly a safety tool, but this is probably where it's best to mention it. If for some reason I step away or my internet line goes dark and I don't come back for 10 minutes, assume that something has happened on my end and that the game is over. Take the rest of your evening back. I'll do my best to let you know via some channel what's going on. But basically, if I'm gone for 10 minutes and I don't come back, it's like when you show up for lecture in college and the prof is more than 10 minutes late, you just go on with the rest of your day. I wish I could say that's never happened, but it has. All right. So that is our safety discussion. Also on this sheet, I don't know if you'll need it. I did stick a player notes thing if you want to take notes. And for whatever reason, Roll20 doesn't give you a good. I haven't really played with the OSE character sheet on Roll20, so I don't know if it's really got a good section for notes. So this is a place where you can jot down notes that you can come back to later. And there's a third tab that I'll come back to once we've created our characters. We'll randomly generate some starting magic items for the party. So with that discussion, if we could click back over to Roll20. So we are playing Old School Essentials. If people who know them want to use the advanced fantasy genre rules, that is absolutely cool if you would like to do that. I'm not 100% sure that the character sheets can handle that, but we'll figure it out. So in the classic fantasy rules tome, like in basic Dungeons and Dragons, there's no distinction between race and class. For those of you who have played D&D, so you just have class. So and characters are generally assumed to be human unless your class is dwarf or elf or halfling. Dwarf is basically a fighter. Elf is basically a fighter magic user multiclass, and halfling is basically a fighter rogue, sort of. If you want to use the advanced fantasy rules that separates race from class, we can. I have that as well, and I believe that information is on the Old School Essentials. It's on the Old School Essentials system resource document. So if you want to refer to that, that's cool. Or if you want to keep it simple, that's fine. The other cool thing about OSE, if you are using the advanced fantasy rules, that is perfectly compatible with the classic fantasy rules. So if you want to be an elf basic fantasy, that's fine. We can mix that with the advanced fantasy where you can say want to be a half-orc rogue. So do folks have ideas as to the kind of characters they want to play? And as for ability stats, I think we'll do as for ability scores. Now,
yeah, because I was curious, because I mean, if we're doing it old school style, it's 6 down the line. So you don't don't decide what class you want to play until you've rolled your stats.
That's true.
I mean that's real old school.
That is real old school. I always liked from Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. I always liked Method 3, which was roll 4d6, throw out the low, keep the highest 3, and then arrange them however you see fit. That way, if you've got a character concept in mind, you can usually get it. Back in Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, it was actually hard to get a paladin because you needed 17 charisma to be a paladin, and there was no guarantee you're going to get a 17 even that way. That was the only really tough one to do. So I guess we can. So I've got 5 characters here. So I'm going to ask everyone to basically pick one. I had player characters 1 to 5. It looks like a few people have already selected.
I'm in number 5. I haven't done anything with it yet, so I'll take
Okay.
that one. I
Okay.
had a question about what everybody else was thinking, because I'm pretty open. I was talking about it with my kids last night, and they've been goading me into a certain character that I think I could have fun with, but I also want to be cognizant of in a fragile environment such as old school. If there's a gap that we need to fill, I'm pretty open to whatever. So
Yeah, clerics are helpful.
Yeah, because I was gonna do the advanced thing with the the thing that I put together is a halfling cleric thief multi-class.
Sure.
But it fits with the background fellow Brandabaris, so halfling god of thievery, so it kind of fits.
Very cool.
I was planning on doing the classic fantasy rules fighter, just for the reason that I think it's the most straightforward in terms of interacting with the rules, probably, that you can do. So that's what I was hopeful to do.
Okay.
What do you
Joe,
like?
what was your?
Yeah, what do you
Oh.
like, Joe?
my kids want me to play an acrobat out of the advanced, and I was reading it, and I'm like, I could maybe have fun with this, and so that's kind of what I was thinking of giving a shot. So
All right. So color me wizard, I guess, is how that's going to work then.
Jim's playing the magic user.
Yes, the Mew, as we used to call them when we
Yep.
were kids.
Yeah,
Who's
they,
who's
does
the
say
Mew?
magic user.
Yeah,
the
who's
MU.
the Mew in this game? Yeah. All right, so that'll be me.
Fantastic.
Is there an easy way to do roll 4 dice in
yeah,
If
if you go
you-
over to the
roll 20?
like the table on this with the little
Oh yeah, sure.
yeah, and then you can just go down to 4.
Bingo, there we go. All right, okay, cool. So I'm just gonna.
I'll take that roll. I like that.
That's a 22. That's a 14.
That's a 14.
That's not
That's
terrible.
pretty good.
And I think what I'll do is just go down the list here.
I mean, go down. Yeah, go ahead and go down the list, and then you can arrange them as you see fit.
Yeah, let me just.
Oh my
do-
God.
okay.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Old school delight.
ooh, a 7.
That's not bad.
Yeah, got another 14.
3. Oh, that's not good. 4, 5, 6. There we go. All right. Well, I got half and half. So let's see here.
Oh my God.
Ooh,
Yeah.
you got an 8.
Like I said.
Yeah, with 46 drop the low, you tend to average like 11 or 12 tends to be the average.
Yep. So I got 14.
Oh, and I bring it home strong.
13.
This sure as heck ain't 5e.
Ooh, someone got a
Sure.
17. Nice. Oh, 16. Excuse me. Nice.
Yeah.
8.
So I'm gonna start up here and 13. 13. 11. 13. My lucky number. Oh, there we go. 10. 3, 4, 5, so one more. And 13. There we go.
Okay, I'll roll mine up. Okay, so that looks like 14. 12. 16. 8. Hopefully that having a 6 in there saved me, but
Yep.
no. 15. And 10.
Okay, these. I don't think no one got really terrible stats.
I don't know. Half of my stats are 8, so
Ooh,
but you know what? Only half of them are, so I can make that work. But I got 2 14s, so yeah, 14, 8. 3 is 11. 14, 8, 11. Oh, no, 2 of them are 8. There we go. All right. Okay.
And you said we start with 6,000 experience points. So whatever that puts us at, was that what I remember?
did I say 6? I'll need to double. I think I did say 6. And yeah, because in basic, the same number of experience points put different character classes at different levels. So just because there was a difference in power level at a given level, so they never later editions of D&D normalized that, but that isn't the case here. And I believe I did say 6,000. So I'm just looking. That should put pretty much all characters between at either 3rd or 4th level. Unless you're a thief, in which case you'd be at 5th level. I'm just stepping off camera for a sec to grab my advanced fantasy book. And one thing I am noticing with these character sheets is if you want to do multi-class, that's cool. I don't think the character sheet can really handle that.
Yeah, but luckily it's not too advanced. This because a cleric, they don't even get spells till 2nd level, so it's like 2 first level spells and then a 1 in 5 chance of doing anything thief-like. About close to there.
That's right. I forgot the clerics didn't get spells until 2nd level in basic. I think I am, because have some like long pauses here as we're doing character. I think I'm going to pause the recording until we this is going to make for really boring listening. All right, we are back. We have made some characters. We have gone shopping, and I think we are ready to start play. Before we really get into this, let's go around the table and introduce our band of stalwart adventurers. Let's go anti-clockwise around the screen, just so that we don't hit people in the same order. Tim, who are you bringing to the table?
All right. I am Calf, the fighter. Sort of your Conan the Barbarian type. Big, beefy guy. Later Conan, where he, later in his career, where he wears armor, not the thief in the loincloth version. Anyway, big, burly guy, plate mill armor, shield, sword. I rolled for a magic item. It looks like he did pick up a elven cloak and boots along the way.
I was just going to say if
You
there's
didn't want me to have done that already, but
I was
did.
going to say we could do if you've already rolled that, that's cool. So you picked up the elven cloak and boots. So yeah, you can move silently.
Yeah.
I was gonna do that now just to but yeah, if you've already rolled, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's his deal. Straight ahead fighter type.
Nice.
AC1, so we're hopefully gonna be able to withstand some punishment. We'll see.
Excellent. Just add one little change I wanted to make on that table. There we go. Okay, very cool. Looking forward to seeing Calf. Joe, would you introduce us to your character?
All right. Topaz is a acrobat who grew up in a circus. That's a traveling circus. So he's not very sharp, but he's nimble and can scurry around. I don't know. I mean, being OSC, this isn't a story game, so I didn't spend a lot of time thinking about backstory. So
nope, that's fine.
Yeah, so I have not rolled yet. So while you're moving on, I'll roll for my.
I was gonna say, yeah, go ahead and roll a d20. Let's see what you get.
Oh, sorry, 20-sided. All right, what's a 6?
6. So you have. Did I misnumber this? 1, 3, 4, 5. Yes, I did. Hold on just a moment. I was moving my table around, and it looks like I cut a line accidentally.
I'm sure it's like a deck of wonders or something like that. That was probably what was supposed to be in there. Was that an AD&D thing? Is that what it was called?
The deck of many things.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was having
totally.
a discussion about that on I was having a discussion about that. That's in my 40 years of playing Dungeons and Dragons. I've had decks of many things show up in 4 campaigns over the years. Every single one of those campaigns, the introduction of a deck of many things ended the campaign. Every single time.
I sometimes will go on what I call the baby DM Reddit, which is the DM advice Reddit. And I swear to God, once a week, someone is like, well, I gave my players a deck of many things and now my campaign is destroyed. What do I do? And the answer is restart your campaign. Don't ever give them a deck of many things ever again. Or have a card that you pull from the deck that says, oh, reset, deck goes away. All the magic is, whatever. The last terrible thing that happened is undone. And then never give your players a deck of many things.
Yep. Never give your players the deck of many things. There we go. Okay, there we go. That makes it easy. So I'm sorry, you rolled I'm sorry, what was the number you rolled?
6.
Okay, so you have a choice. You have ammunition +1, 10 arrows, bolts, whatever you want, your choice, or a spell scroll of level 1.
Okay, I'll take the ammo, I think.
Okay. What I take it you have a missile weapon?
Yeah, short bow. So.
Oh, okay, yep. You've got 10 +1 arrows.
Excellent.
Harry, would you roll a d20?
All right, let's see here. That is a 12. Rope of climbing.
You have a
Thank
rope of
you.
climbing.
Oh, that's very, very useful.
Almost all of these, by the way, almost all of these, I just copied what like the pre-gen characters had, and just kind of like dumped them all into a table. And finally, Jim, would you roll a d20?
Yeah, sure. My character is the wizard Zalalaz the Sporadic, and called that because like he's got very few spells, but he tries to only use them when they're going to be most effective, and so he is only sporadically effective, and that is
there we go.
That's his reputation, is that he will come through when you need him, but you have to convince him that you need him. So let's see what got happening here. So this I'm gonna just 1d20.
Yep.
There's a 3.
You have a potion of levitation.
Fantastic.
And Harry, I skipped over the your character intro. Would you introduce us to your character?
I am Clintock, Stump Jumper, halfling cleric thief, a follower of Brando Barris, who's the halfling god of adventuring. He's always dressed real sharply in gray, leather armor, cloak, with straps of black, and he's got a hunting cap with a white feather in it. And he has his friends, Chauncey, the Irish setter, and the mule that he rides goes by the name of Owen. We'll see how long it lasts.
I love it. Okay, well, we have our adventurers. We're just gonna we'll figure it out in play, but we're going to just assume that the 4 of you have been adventuring together for a while. So you all know each other. You know each other's strengths and weaknesses. If we get some downtime and we want to figure out more of our character's backstory, we'll do that then. But we're just each other. We're not like meeting in a bar and like we're not going to roll that. You've been adventuring together for quite some time, to the point where you got hired for a gig. Okay, I'm now going to read some backstory. For several years, organized bands of pirates and slavers have made a living by raiding the coastal towns on the Sea of Gernot. Ranging from Onwall to the wild coast, they have descended quickly and ruthlessly on the small towns and villages and carried off innocent citizens into the night. Although these marauders were not approved by the lords and rulers of the lands they raided, they were more or less allowed to continue their depredations. Feuding amongst the lords and lack of funds prevented all but an occasional naval battle with these villains and the slow fortification of the towns. Bribery was often a more effective method of protecting one's lands from the incursions of these avaricious sea wolves. Someone was definitely looking at a thesaurus when they wrote this. Recently, however, the slavers' attacks have become more frequent and vicious. Believing their prey to be weak and helpless, the raiders have burnt entire villages and pulled down the walls of towns. The populations of entire villages have disappeared, and though bribes are accepted, the agreements are ignored. Vast tracts of coastline have been reduced to ashes, left barren except for packs of wild animals. The lords have finally become determined to take action, forgetting their petty squabbles to unite against the marauders of the yellow sails. Through information gained from escaped captives and those fortunate enough to have been found and rescued by family or friends, the lords have tracked the slavers to a port which they launched their swift attacks on the coast, the despoiled city of Highport in wasted Pomage. Some who have lost kin and fortune to the raiders have advised the king of taking a fleet and crushing the outpost, but cooler heads prevailed. They have pointed out that such a base is undoubtedly well defended, and that the slavers, if alarmed, might arrange that loved ones and kin are never seen again. Instead, they've chosen a plan of stealth. Several bands of adventurers have been gathered together, and will be sent in to infiltrate the base and destroy the leaders of this evil band. Caution is recommended, for the true strength and extent of this slavering is not known, but they seem to be stronger and better organized than encounters with their small raiding parties would indicate. Highport was once a proud city, but the land and town have been overrun by hostile humanoids, orcs, goblins, kobolds, and ogres. Looted, burned, and ill-kept, the city has become a base for human outcasts wishing to deal with these unsavory creatures. Your party, provided with transport, has managed to arrive in Highport and pose as one of these groups come to deal. So, so the adventure has some, has like a couple of paragraphs on like, going around the city, but provides no map and no more than the barest guidelines. So I'm going to jump ahead to the tournament start. So I'm going to give you a little more backstory, which was, so after a couple of days of asking around, posing as people who are interested in these illicit wares, you have learned the location of where you're supposed to go. You are standing outside the walls of a ruined temple of Hieronius, which has been burned and looted years ago. As you approach the walls, painted on them are a single eye symbol, which your cleric, and probably any of you who've spent any time in this region knows, is the symbol of the Orcish deity Gruumsh. So looking at this place from a point of safety, you see that the walls and some attached outbuildings still appear to be solid and habitable, but the interior appears to be all gutted and burnt. The temple itself is located on the edge of the city, and most of the buildings around it have been burned or otherwise destroyed. There's little traffic about, and those passerbys that pay no attention to you. So you've got the location, this is where they are. So I guess my question is, what do you do? Oh, and if you want to, and yeah, we've got the temple map here. I'm doing the poor man's fog of war thing. So you can see the exterior. If you walk around this area here, there's a portcullis and there's like a little bit of an inner courtyard. So if you walk around, toward the front of it, you can look in there and see. And again, unless you get really close to the temple, no one around there is going to bother you. But yeah, it's just a little bit of the lay of the land. There's some scrubby, there's some scrubby bushes and trees that have grown up. But again, nothing super close to the temple.
Is this just outside of town, or was that a little bit further out, or?
It's just it's just barely on the outskirts of town. Again, the city had a wall. The walls have mostly been destroyed by the attacking humanoids. This city fell a good 20 or 30 years ago, and it's been mostly overrun by, it's mostly now overrun by orcs and goblins and ogres and some human bandits are working out of here, and and other people who wish, and other people that have come to town to try to deal with the unsavory leaders of this place. And again, you were posing as such a group, and that's how you were able to get the location.
Should we approach by stealth or walk in the front door?
I am going to say one other. I'm going to say that you learned one other thing, and that is you've of a secret door in the back. You've been told where it is, and and how to open it. But there are other entrances. There's like the front door. There's the side door. There's a door, and there's a couple of other doors you could go in, but you're pretty sure that if you go in the front door, you're pretty sure that if you just kind of like walk in the front door, that's probably going to
we will
alert
end
the whole
up
thing.
as yes, we will end up in the clutches of these people rather than dealing with them. It seems to me that if we are discovered inside, then we simply act like we belong there, and if not, then we, then we make sure nobody can raise the alarm.
Right. I think going in a secret door, even if we were caught, could lend credence to the idea that we belong there. After all, how else would we know about the secret entrance, right?
Absolutely. My thoughts exactly.
So you're heading over to the secret door?
Yeah. And can I just ask everybody to put, Joe, do you mind putting your character name up on screen just so we remember what it is?
Sorry.
Yeah, you can just right click on your name and hit and pull down to rename. There you go. Okay. Where are we here? Okay. Yeah, you were yeah, this was apparently a secret exit from the temple when it was a temple of Hieronius. And it is unclear whether the current inhabitants know about this secret door, because it doesn't look like it's been used in quite some time. There's like ivy growing up around the outside of it.
It is, in fact, a secret.
I'm gonna tie up my mule by the side, and I told the dog to just guard the mule, so it's like up by the wall, so
Yeah,
people can't see it from windows or anything like that. As best as I can.
And plenty for it to graze on here,
Yeah.
so that's good.
I get my adventuring gear on, and then I guess I'll do the thing that every thief has to do, which is I'm going to go check the secret door for traps.
Oh, checking for traps. Okay.
It's a 20% chance.
Yeah, well, 20% chance. I'm mostly happy with like rolling stuff out in the open. So I'm just gonna roll this. I'm just gonna roll it out in the open. And that's a no. I'm just okay. So I'm just gonna say you don't find any traps.
It appears clear.
All right. Little halfling, thank you. And I'll just grab my sword and kind of start hacking away some of the vines and stuff.
Okay. I'm gonna say like hacking away at the vines. I'm just gonna say for the sake of argument that you're hacking away the vines and you just happen to hit the switch that opens the secret door. The tournament start is you're there, you open the secret door, you can go in. So I think we're just going to go with that. So I need to switch to the GM level. No, the background level. So at the end of you open the secret door. And again, it kind of creaks open and you head on in. So at the end of this 10-foot long passage is what is obviously the back of a secret door, constructed to look as if it were part of the wall to those on the other side. No attempt has been made to disguise the presence of the door from this side. Light from the other side faintly outside. Yeah, light from the other side faintly outlines the door, and there's a handle to pull the door open.
Yeah, I'll check that one as well. I think it's just going to be operating standard procedure unless we're getting attacked or something.
No, I think I will make this a secret roll and just tell you. 20% chance, you said?
Yep.
You don't find any traps.
I'm going to open the door for Calf to take the lead this time.
Okay. So you open the door. You start to swing it inside, and as you swing it inside, you hear a click, and then you hear this. You hear the sound which I can best describe as boing, as there had been a cantilevered like a cantilevered board that when you hit the tripwire, it swings forward. The far end of it has like a whole bunch of spikes on the end that would hit a man right in the face. You, however, are a halfling. It goes right over your head.
Missed one.
Yep. Any character standing in the doorway will take 2d6. Will take 2d6 points of damage, unless they are a gnome or halfling, in which case the bar passes harmlessly overhead.
Wow, that's awesome.
So yes, you can proceed down the hall. Yeah, so the passage goes down to a doorway. I'm just going to hand wave, listening at the door. You don't hear anything. You continue up the corridor. You are at another door. Oh, I'm sorry. There's another. Oh, I'm sorry. There's that. Yeah. So yeah, there is a you have a choice of passages. You can go left or right. Any choice?
Maybe we go left, stay as much
Oh.
on the periphery as we can. I don't know. What do you guys think?
That's what I was thinking.
Sounds good.
Okay, so you go down this corridor. And again, this is a pretty dusty corridor. It doesn't look like it's been used in quite some time. And that passage turns around and ends at another door.
Same thing. I mean, can the acrobats do that, or is the acrobat just
Yeah, I don't have any listening. I can hide in shadows and move silently, but no,
Alright.
none of that stuff.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I'll check again.
You're gonna listen at the door, or check for traps.
I'm gonna check for traps first, and then listen for noise. And noise for me is 1 through 3.
You do not find any traps. And you're going to listen at the door, and your listen is a 1, 2, or 3.
Yep.
Let's see. You don't really hear anything.
I think we're safe.
I will. I'll go in front and swing the door open. with my shield out, in case there's something beyond. I'm not sure if I trust Clintock quite as much after he was like, well, this one's good to go. And then there's the spikes that flew over his head.
To be fair, he did not say there is no trap. He said, I did not find a trap.
Right. Either he was very specific about identifying the trap and knowing exactly, yeah. Or maybe, I suppose you could say he found it and knew it would be safe for him, so he didn't care, right? But
I think he would have told us that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I'm not a bad guy, so I mean, I'm not that kind of thief.
Yeah, but I'll try to open the door.
The door is, I shouldn't have revealed it, but who cares? Yeah, the door is very solidly stuck.
Right. I have a 4 and 6
doors. It's like really solidly stuck to the point where you look at it and it looks like the door had like so it was like an iron bound door, but it looks like the iron is rusted, and it also looked like it had an iron bound door jamb, and it looks like this door is more or less like rusted into place.
Can I try to use my open stuck door 4 and 6?
That is going to make a lot of noise, I would assume.
You are. Yeah. So you're. Yeah. Okay. You can absolutely try it. So let's see. Just going by this. Yeah. It's really stuck. You're gonna really have to like throw your like take a bit of a running, and to like body slam the door open. If that's what you want to do.
No, well, I think I'll turn to all of you guys and kind of like, kind of flex and be like, want me to pop it open,
Be my guest.
Okay, so if that's what you're doing, there's actually no roll needed because it says right here, a character in plate mail who throws his body against the door will smash through immediately. However, I need you to make a dexterity check. So the way dexterity checks work in this is roll a d20. You want to get your score or less. So you want to get your score or under. So this is one of those cases where rolling low is good. And I believe that is indeed under your dexterity. So yeah, you bound through, you like punch your way through the door. The door like slams open. Makes a bit of a noise, but your momentum carries you into the room, and you are able to stop yourself before you fall into the open pit, as most of the floor of this room has fallen away. The wooden door to this room, let's see, the wooden door into this room was charred. The room beyond is severely burnt, its furnishings buried and ruined beyond recognition. The ceiling is collapsed for the most part, revealing I'm sorry, I'm just making sure you're in the right room. Yes, that is the keyed room. That doesn't seem to match. Hold on a moment. Okay, here we are. Yeah, so the ceiling is collapsed for the most part, revealing another chamber on the second floor. About 5 feet of the ceiling still remains around the walls of the room, forming a narrow, jagged ledge. So in other words, so like the ceiling of the room below has fallen away. So the floor is mostly not there. and the floor below is littered with beams, plaster, and ash. So there is a hold on. I'm sorry. Another problem with 40-year-old adventures is the layout is terrible.
You gotta flip around to find the actual room and how it's keyed and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. The illustration of the room, that I was getting confused of is the illustration is for a room that's on the next page.
Cool. It's all good.
Okay. Okay, I see what's going on now. Okay. So yeah, so this is a collapsed guard room. So I take back what I said about the collapsed floor. That's a different room. Sorry, I was confused by the location of the illustration. So yeah, the ceiling of this room has collapsed, and it's open to the sky. And so there was fire in here. It took down the wooden roof. The remaining walls are mostly stone, and everything that was on it has like mostly burned away. And the floor is just littered with junk. On the other side of the room, to the north wall, there is a door that also seems to be. It also, I mean, there is a closed door. It also seems to be scorched, but still relatively intact.
So you said there was junk all over, kind of burnt junk all over the room?
Burnt junk all over the floor. It's been open to the sky. It's look, the fire was a long time ago, so everything's pretty well scorched, but it's open to the sky. So things are also, there's wet. There's probably a few weeds growing up here and there.
I guess I'd poke around with my spear in all of that stuff to see if there's anything, in the spirit of an OSE or an OSR. Got to poke around in the junk and whatnot and see what's there.
Absolutely. Okay. So you're poking around. Is everyone else going in the room to poke around, or is Topaz just going in by himself?
I'm going to move towards the door just so that I can stand guard while Topaz searches through the room.
Okay. I'm going to make a GM roll here. Okay. So as you're, so who's in the room and who's not in the room? Everyone in the room?
I'm in.
I'm holding back. I'm waiting to see what happens here.
Okay. So 3 of you are in the room, and
I kind of tend to let them go on ahead. I'm pretty fragile.
Well, the magic users need to stay in the back, right? So so the 3 of you are poking around the room, and I'm going to say that Topaz, as you're poking around, you notice the sun comes from out behind of a cloud, and as you're poking around on the ground, you notice that there's like the shadow of the wall above you. Something moves, and you glance up just to see like 3 humanoid figures jump down into the room from the roof above. They are humanoid, but they look very feral. Their skin is like pale, and they exude the reek of death.
Excellent.
And as they all lurch, and there's 3 of them, as they lurch towards you, they hiss. We're in combat. And yeah, they had a 4 and 6 chance of surprising you, but I rolled a 5. So Okay, so we're gonna do OSE combat. So let me just make sure I've got this right. So here's how the combat sequence works. So we are now in combat. Everyone should declare what their intended actions are. We're going to have each side is going to roll 1d6, and then the winning side acts. And we're doing group initiative instead of individual initiative. Individual initiative is an option, but let's stick with the old. We'll just do group initiative. And the way this works is, we'll just kind of like whatever makes sense to, like, depending on what your declared actions are, whatever makes most sense will go first. Generally the rule is if the monsters have taken damage, there's a monster morale check. That's not gonna happen this round. Then anyone who needs to move can move. Then we resolve missile fire. Then we resolve spell casting. Then we resolve melee attacks. So, yeah, so there are 3 of these creatures in the room. Zalalaz, what is your intention?
I'm staying well back in the doorway, whichever of them ends up closest to me, I'm gonna try and throw a dagger in its face.
Okay. Clintock, what are you intending to do?
You said they reeked of death.
Yep.
Okay. I'm pulling my holy symbol out, which is just a little silver coin, and I'm going to be holding it up so that they can see them.
Okay. Are you going to like?
I'm going to attempt to turn undead.
Going to attempt to turn undead. Fantastic. Topaz, what are you intending to do?
I am going to attempt. So I'm assuming we're going to be in melee because they jumped right down amidst us. So I'm going to try to. I'm going to attack whichever one is closest with my spear. So
okay. And finally, Calf, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I think I'll roll my shield off my shoulder, draw my sword, and step forward and try and run my sword through one of them.
Okay, fantastic. Who wants to roll initiative? This is a D6 roll.
I vote for the wizard.
Yeah, you bet. Sure, here we go.
Go for it.
Here's the other thing about playing stuff like this online. So many tabs open. All right, we got this. And
say I've got 3 screens to make it a little easier, but
D6, right?
D6.
There's 4.
Yeah.
We want high.
Yeah, whoever rolls high is better. I got a 5,
we want not high enough.
Yeah. So the bad guys go first. So I think the first is going to attempt to claw at Calf. Let's see. Looking at their stat blocks, and it doesn't give their THAC0. Oh, hit die. Oh, okay. It's based on hit dice. There we go. Okay, so okay, so the one attacking Calf hit armor class 2. Did that hit your armor class?
No, I have armor class 1.
Ooh, okay, so it missed you. I think the second one is going to attack Topaz. And it hit armor class 1.
Class 1.
I was going to say it hit armor class 1.
Well, it hit me then.
Okay. So it does so it does 5 points of damage. And please make a saving throw versus paralysis. Wait, you're not an elf, are you?
Oh no, I was wondering why. What a stupid ability to be immune to ghoul paralysis. How often does that happen? All right, so petrification and paralysis.
You want to roll high.
And so it begins.
So the creature hits the creature hits Topaz, and Topaz Topaz's like limbs like lock up, and he's suddenly basically more or less frozen in place. The third is going to attack Clintock.
AC 6.
And that's a critical fail. Well, I believe there are no critical hits or critical failures, but one is an automatic miss. So you are not hit. It is now the party's turn. So let me just go back and make sure I'm doing the order correctly. So movements first. So if anyone wants to move, they reposition, they can. Then we resolve missile fire. I think Zalalaz is the only one who was throwing stuff.
Yep. You can all call me Zal for short, and I think that's fine. So
Zal, pick a ghoul and try to perforate it.
You don't have to do the whole palindrome. The one that who was it? It was Topaz that just got paralyzed?
Yes.
Yeah, the ghoul that will eat, that is gonna start biting his neck out if I don't do something about that. So I'm gonna pluck one of the half dozen daggers I carry with me in a little bandolier across my chest and wick it at that ghoul, and let's see what happens here. So I should be able to just click dagger ranged like that, I think, right?
That should be how it works.
Threshold modifier? There's no threshold modifier. Right?
There's no threshold modifier here.
16 on my attack roll.
Okay, you hit armor class 3, which hits.
Yep. Nice. I believe
that does
1 point of damage.
Okay. So yeah, you hit this thing, and it looked like it was about to like move in to take a bite out of Topaz, but you've got its attention, and it's now seems to be
joy.
And now it looks like it's looking at you.
Okay.
Let's see. Did anyone else have a missile? No, no one else is missile. So I'm gonna consider turning undead to be like spell casting. So I guess it's time to turn some undead. I don't remember how this works. So
okay, it's pretty easy. It depends on their hit die. If they're 1 or 2 hit die, I automatically turn them. If they are a 2 asterisk or 3 or 4, I have to roll on the table. And I've got my little chart here. It's like 7, 9, 11. It's just rolling 2d6.
Undead. Okay, they are indeed 2 hit dice monsters.
Okay. Do they have the asterisk for a special ability or anything like that?
They well, hold on. Let me cross-reference because I'm using AD&D stats because that's what's in the module. Let me see what ghouls are in Old School Essentials. Yes, they do. They are 2-star hit dice. So
so that means I need a 7 on 2d6. 2d6. And nope, they're not turned.
That's a drag.
Is this the part where we say, run away, run away? Well, not me, of course, because I'll just be staying right here.
Well, there is that. So, Calf, I think it's back to you, or I think it's to you.
Yeah, I mean, assuming I'm positioned in the right way, I'll try to take a stab at the one that's already been hit by the dagger. Otherwise, if that's not possible, I'll just take the nearest one.
Got it. Yeah, you can get that one. No problem.
All right.
And it may be prompting you for like a threshold modifier. There is none, so you can just go past
Oh,
it.
that's what it is. Okay. All right. So I hit AC 10, it looks like, right? Because I had a
Ooh,
9.
yeah. Yeah, well, you rolled a 7 on the dice. Unfortunately, that misses. You like swing at it. You aim a powerful blow at it, and it would have totally hit, but this thing must have anticipated your action because it just deftly stepped out of the way of your sword.
Not good.
So, I am going to invoke a rule from later's edition of Dungeons and Dragons, just because paralysis, taking a character out for like long sections of time. I'm going to let you roll a saving throw every round.
I think the technical term is that it sucks ass. That's the.
Well,
might
it
be
just
a-
gives me an opportunity for it to be my fault that I'm still paralyzed. All right. Is that now? We're rolling into that now?
That'll be yeah, go ahead and roll it. Go ahead and roll it now. You lost your turn, but yeah, go ahead and roll it now at the end of the round. Nice. So you did lose your turn, but you're free to act now. But of course, now it is their turn. So I think the one. So I think the first one is going to attempt. So that one, the one that you hit with the dagger, Zal. It moved toward you, and then Calf moved up to follow it. So I'm going to say that both of you are kind of on that one. So I'm going to say it's 50-50 as to who it's going to go after. So 1, 2 Zaz, 3, 4 Calf. And it's going to, or Zal, excuse me. So yeah, it's going to go after Zal. And let's see, it misses.
on my equipped armor, I literally typed in the words "my bare ass" because that is all that is between me and that ghoul's claws are like whatever robe I'm wearing. So
yeah, it's this one.
Yeah, I think
it's got a THAC0 of 8.
It's scramble out of the way.
It's got a THAC0 of 18, and I rolled a 2 on the die, so that's a miss. So the other one is, I think, so one of the other ones is, I think following its first one is, and I think that one's going to attack Calf. And you're AC 1, so that's totally also going to be a miss. And the third one is going to go after Clintock.
AC 6.
AC 6, so that's 10 minus, that is also a miss. That's armor class 8. It is now your turn. I forgot to ask what your intentions were, but I think it's pretty obvious at this point. It seems like pretty much everyone's in melee. Topaz, you are not currently in melee, so you can do something else if you like, but you can certainly
Well,
like
I would.
close.
I was going to ask. So one of the acrobat can jump, and using a pole, they can put themselves up on a 10-foot ledge. So I was going to ask how high that where they came down from
10 feet.
So when I read it, it says with a 20-foot run up, an acrobat can jump across a 10-foot wide pit or chasm. Also, when using a pole, an acrobat can jump over a 10-foot wall or onto a 10-foot high ledge. Suitable poles include pole arms, spears, or staves. So
Okay.
when my read of that, I can't tell if I need the 20-foot for the jump as well. It kind of reads that way.
I was going to say there's 20 feet of 20 feet of movement that you've got in here. So because these are 10-foot squares. So yeah, you can. And if your weapon is a staff, you can do that. Is that a roll or is that just something you can just do?
It says it's just something you do. It's not
Okay.
one of the chance of success things. So I want to put myself up on the ledge. So
Okay. You are up there.
hopefully I'm not out of the frying pan and into the fire.
Yep, you're up on the ledge. Cool. Let's go back to Calf.
Yeah, I mean, my plan is just to continue slugging it out in melee. So,
Well, let's do some slugging.
all right.
Are we not declaring and going?
Yeah, I forgot. I did forget to do the declare, didn't I? Sorry about that. I'm still getting used to the system. Clintock, so you're gonna melee. Zal, what are you gonna do?
I'm going to, as I stumble back, cast a spell.
Okay.
And multiple images of me will boop, 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 pop into existence as I try to soak some of the hits from these ghouls here.
Fantastic. And Clintock, what are you gonna do?
I'm activating the rope of climbing that I have to attach to the wall right next to the where the acrobat landed, and I'm going to be leaving combat as soon as possible and let them get a hit on me.
Fantastic.
In prey.
Okay. That sounds pretty cool. So, so movement goes first. So yeah, I'm going to say Clintock and Topaz, you are now on top of the wall. You're both you can engage in combat, but you're out of melee range of these ghouls.
And I think the ghoul gets to attack me.
Was that?
I think the ghoul gets an attack because I'm running away from him.
I'm actually not sure I'm not sure how that works. I know that's how it works that's how it works in there's no such thing as an attack. I don't think there's any such thing as an attack of opportunity in BX. So yeah, you can disengage combat.
Okay, cool. That's what I'm doing.
I'll double check the rules later, but that's going to be my table rolling for now.
I'm pretty sure that it's like you just move at half speed away from them, right? But we're in such I think that's it. Does that sound right? We're in such an enclosed area, it wouldn't matter. And you have plenty of movement.
I'm not sure because the acrobat has a skill or something called evasion that says when retreating from melee, an acrobat's ability to tumble negates the opponent's usual +2 bonus to hit. So, but I'm also not. That seems like it says there's a thing, but I'm not sure what the actual rule is.
I've got it right in front of me, and it says here, so movement in melee. When in melee with a foe, only the following forms of movement are possible. Fighting withdrawal. The character moves backwards at up to half their encounter movement rate. There must be a clear path for this movement. And retreat. The character turns and flees from melee, moving up to their full encounter movement rate. This round, the character may not attack. The opponent gets a +2 bonus to all attacks against the character and ignores any AC bonus due to the character's shield. So basically that means you can move at full speed without the monster getting the bonus to attack you. But at
Okay.
any time you can move half speed, back up like so.
Got it. And I'm going to say between your rope and so Clintock, between your magic item and that you're only moving half speed. I'm going to say that works.
Okay.
So movement happens. You're both on top of the ledge. No one's firing missiles. So now spells go off. And now there's a bunch of Zals around. Now I assume that was mirror image. So
It's mirror image. Let me roll and see how many images I get. Yeah, 1. Nice. A single image.
no, dice are not with you tonight.
They are not. It's true.
And finally,
But,
melee.
I've got a little twin now. That looks as panicky as I do at the moment.
All right.
And
So,
calf.
yeah. All right. So roll the 9 +2 for strength. So that's 11. 19 minus 11. So I should hit AC 8.
Yep, that hits.
Okay. So I'm going to roll a D8 +2 for damage. So +2 to my strength. 8 +2. So 10.
10. Okay. You push your sword right through this thing's chest. It comes out the other side. It gurgles a little bit, like some black blood comes out of its mouth, and it just slumps over well, I mean, it was dead to begin with because it's a ghoul, but it's not moving anymore.
It's
Really
undead.
dead. It's
Yeah.
really dead.
And I think that is everybody. We are now in we're now in round 3. So the monsters have lost one, so they need to make a morale check. And let me look up how that works.
Oh yeah, because that's the first thing that happens in any given combat round, I
Yep.
guess technically.
Yep, and I like the morale rule. So let's see, monster morale. Monsters have a listing for morale. So basically, roll 2d6. Is there morale? Not in the stat block in the module. Ghoul morale is 9. So there are 2 remaining. So the first one fails. And the second one also fails. So there's the other 2 ghouls. The other 2 ghouls, seeing what happened to the first one, scramble up, just kind of turn. They scramble up the opposite wall, not the wall that you're standing on. They scramble up the opposite wall and hop over it. So we are now out of melee. So the 2 of you who are now up on the ledge, now that you're no longer looking down, you can see more around. And I'm going to remove this. So there's no direct way in there. You're looking into basically a destroyed inner courtyard. Now, you're not sure if it's a courtyard. This might have been just the interior of the old sanctuary. As the as it went up in flames, the roof collapsed. So this is all open. This is all like area that's open to the sky. Delete. Delete. So there doesn't seem to be a whole lot in there. But yeah, this is like, it's all just like open, like ruined interior of the sanctuary. There's like bushes and trees that are grown up out of the ground. Just a whole lot of rubble. Doesn't seem to be a whole lot in there.
Now that we've had this bird's eye view, that I'm dubious whether there's anything useful there, but perhaps we should go back and inspect that first room, which appears to have remained enclosed.
Yep, that is yeah, looking up there, that is a yeah, that is yeah, that
Like
that's
the
a part.
walls of that are intact.
The
and
walls
stuff,
of that
right?
are intact, and it still has
Yeah.
it still has an intact roof, so you can't
Yeah.
really see into it.
Perhaps we should just to make sure. Somebody went to great lengths to make sure nobody could get in there easily.
Yeah, and from what it looks like, there's no, like if we went down into that off the wall, there doesn't look like there's any entrances or anything from that other direction. So I think going back to your
Agreed.
point, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's really an easy way in there. There may have been up here. In fact, what you're looking at, like up here, it looks like there probably was at one time. But there's a whole lot of rubble that's just kind of like fallen down. It's like walls have collapsed.
Collapsed archway or something like that. Sure. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and then like more debris is like built up there. So there's really doesn't seem to be a whole lot in there. I mean, you could probably poke around and look, but that doesn't really seem to be a whole lot. So you're going to head on back to this room.
Yeah.
There's the door to the north of 3. If you want to do that one, or or this one.
Yeah, there is a door. Yeah, there is a door that would go on. And up there, this whole section is all still intact. This is like part of the outer walls. So these are like corridors that like are going through like the heavy stone walls, and because that part of the building was apparently stone when the fire hit, so that didn't burn down.
Because if there are undead about, there are probably more foes, and that was a close one.
We should. Do we need to attend to wounds?
I have 1 healing spell, so you guys tell me when you want me to use it.
Yeah, I don't think we want to use that yet.
Very well. Then perhaps that room to the south to see if there's anything that can be of use to us.
I would agree with that. We could kind of eliminate that area, and then depending on what we find in there, kind of continue back up the other way.
Might not be the worst idea to reset that trap behind us as well, so that if anybody tries to follow us in, they'll
They'll get hit with
encounter the
spikes in
same
the face.
difficulty we did. Yes.
Yeah, I'll spend the time to do that. If I don't even know if that's in the skill set for this game.
I'm gonna say you can absolutely do that. There's no roll needed. You can just reset the trap.
That's a total OSR move. So yeah.
So yeah, you head on back and you're at this door. What's the plan? This door looks like it's it's a wooden door, iron bound. This one isn't so rusty as that other one. but it does look like it's swollen a bit and is probably stuck in the frame. So you're going to probably have to force it open.
I'll still check for traps just because that's what you have to do at every door. You really do in the old school ones.
Got it. And your skill's 20.
20%. Yeah.
You do not find any traps.
It's up to you.
All right, I'll force the door open.
This will be a normal. This is just a normal force the door open. Like this is a normal open door rule.
So it's 4 and 6.
Okay.
I do have a crowbar. Does that change the check at all?
If you have a crowbar, if you want to take the time to use a crowbar, for this door, it'll take you a couple. It'll take you some tries, but that'll just be an auto success.
It might be could be quieter to try to open it with a crowbar rather.
That's just it'll make a lot less noise, but it's going to take more time.
What do you guys think? Do you want me to bash it? Should I bash it or should I use this?
Pry it.
Less noise is better.
All right, I'll start working on prying it open.
Okay.
Time is not at a premium for us at the moment.
Right.
So yeah, it takes a couple of minutes, but you're able to pry the door open. No roll needed. So this room is burnt and partially destroyed, much like others throughout the temple. The floor is crowded with debris and movements difficult. Sagging and collapsed as it is, the ceiling still seems to be sound. The east wall is different from the others. It shows sign of recent construction and upkeep as it is patched in several places. On the whole, the east wall appears to be solidly built. Again, more recent construction than the rest. And again, the room is just full of debris and old furniture. It's again partially burned. This room isn't as badly burned as that other one.
And the east wall is this one that I'm right there.
Correct. Yep. Wall of the east.
Can you unfog of war it for us?
Oh yeah. There's nothing there.
So perhaps this room was burnt like the rest, but rebuilt for some reason.
Or simply just escape the worst of it, whatever happened in the interior there. Do we want to spend some time sifting through the rubble, or shall we move on?
I think we should.
I don't know. Yes,
I would say we should look through the debris.
Okay, you're poke through the debris. That was a good call. In the southwestern corner, piled under the debris of the fire, you do find an old. It's scorched, but it's still intact. You find a small stone coffer.
We all just sort of stare at Clintock.
Yeah. He touches it gingerly with his toe, and then he'll get down on his hands and knees and look for traps, see if there's anything. 20 whopping %.
You do not find any traps.
All right. I tested to see if it's locked.
It does not appear to be locked.
Okay, then I'll take the poison pill if it comes, and I just I pop it open.
It opens easily. Inside are 4 potion bottles.
Ooh.
The opening up. Opening it up. Again, the outside was scorched, but opening it up, there are sigils that are the signs of the god Hieronius, god of valor. But there are 4 potion bottles in here. And I'm just going to tell you what they are. These are 4 potions of healing.
Yay.
Yeah, we do the thing where I unstopper it and put my pinky in and then just kind of rub my teeth with it and give it a little sniff. Potions of healing. What do potions of healing do in this OSR here.
I believe
sorry,
in
OSC.
OSC, I believe it does D6. I believe it does D8 plus 1, but I'm double checking that. Magic items, gems, jewelry.
D6 plus 1.
D6 plus 1. Okay.
Cures paralysis.
It's just like Cure Light Wounds.
Yeah. So with 4 of them, shall we each take 1 in our pack?
Sounds good.
Agreed.
So, out of character, I'm looking at the time here. We got about 20 minutes. Got about 20 minutes to go. Before we're at time, do we want to try to do one more room, or do we want to suspend here, or do we want to like end here, do stars and wishes? I think the next room is probably gonna. I think we could probably get one more room in if you're. Presumably, you go back to room 3 and go north.
Yeah.
That sounds good to me.
Okay.
There was one thing, Mike. I was in that room 2. I was wondering if it would have been possible. You said there was one wall that looked like it was like recently plastered over.
Yes, the eastern
If I
wall
had-
was indeed.
If I had my hammer out and was sort of just like tapping on the wall looking for like hollow spots or something, I'm wondering, like, I would have thought maybe they walled over something. There's like a false wall. There's something hidden behind it. If I'm barking up the wrong tree, you can just tell me so we don't waste time.
I'm just gonna say for reasons of time, no, this is something. This is done for other reasons.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
So you head back to room 3. I'm just gonna hand wave. You listen at the door. You don't hear anything. You check for traps. You don't find any. And you force open the door. Let me just see if there's anything here. Yeah. Nope. Yeah. So that goes to so that goes. That was more of the courtyard. So yeah, you follow this corridor around, and yeah, there's some stairs, and this opens up into a room without a door. So you get into this room, and so these are stairs. These stairs go up. At the top of the stairs are the remains of a door, beyond which is a room. The floor here is almost entirely gutted, as is the floor below. 30 feet below. So you go down there, and you go up the stairs. You're at this room. So 30 feet down, looking down this, like where the floor is collapsed, there's another floor which is also burned out. And below that is, you can see like the gray stone of a cellar. There is a doorway on the opposite side of the room, which is open. There is a plank that's been laid across this chasm. It also looks like both to the east and the west, there is just a little bit of a ledge that's still there.
How about up? Is there an intact roof, or?
This part does indeed have an intact ceiling.
Well,
Well, I think the acrobat and I could probably get across pretty easily, and with my rope of climbing, I can have it as a helper for you guys to try and cross over if you don't want to do the ledge walk around.
I do not.
So I got a 50-foot range on it, so I think that should cover it.
Yeah, let me
Oh,
just-
that's right, because it can go across as
Yep.
well as up, right? Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah. Let
It
me
can
just-
remain solid. It
Yeah. Okay.
carries 10,000 coin weight.
let me just read that real quick. Miscellaneous item. Rope of climbing. Yeah, a thin coil of strong thing of thin, strong rope, 50 feet in length. Can command it to climb in any direction. The rope can also be commanded to attach to a surface. Yep, it's short, sweet, and to the point.
So
It's
do we
one of my
have to
favorite
get to the
items.
other? Do we have to get to the other side to kind of secure it, or can
I
it
send
just go
to
out?
attach. Like
Yeah, you
you command it and it like moves in the air, floats, goes in different directions. It's very, very useful.
Yeah, and it can. I mean, the fact that it can attach to a surface
Mm.
is super useful. So I mean, it basically becomes it's a guide rope for us now. So yeah.
Yep, and yeah, it's 10, 20. Yep, yeah, you can totally have it. You can totally have it as a guide rope above that center bridge. So you've got like extra. Yeah, you can 100% do that. There's no roll needed. That's so you've got that set up. So that's how you're gonna go. You're gonna like walk across the ledge, holding onto your rope.
Or walking across the center board.
The center
crossed.
board. Okay,
I'm wondering, can we see down into the pit below?
you can. It goes. Yeah, it goes. Yeah, it goes about 40. So it goes about. It goes about 10 feet down to the lower, like a little more than 10 feet down to like a lower level. The floor of that has also been burned away. It goes another like 15 feet. So from where you're down, it goes like 30 feet down to like a stone floor. So that goes like down to the basement level. Up from that level, you definitely get the smell of rot and decay.
Is there any thought toward us wanting to check out what's down there?
That
No.
could be where the ghouls came from.
Could be, yeah.
Hmm.
Although they were
I
above us.
suspect. Well, they were above us so that they could ambush us. But if they are in tunnels beneath, it's entirely probable that they can emerge in the courtyard. And if they could come into the courtyard, climb up the walls, and then be there to wait for us, as wonderful as it was to find those potions, that does not look like anything where we are likely to find anything useful.
Yeah, I can't decide whether going across the center is just too sort of laid out for us versus,
Yeah, it's like one or the other.
it's a trap, right? Is it?
Well, if we've got the rope, right? Even
Why
if
we have the rope, yes.
right, you'd still be holding on to the rope, and you could
Mhm.
still make your way.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking in terms of you're out in the middle of rope or no rope. You're out in the middle of everything there, right? So
True.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
One of us could cross at a time, while the others with missile weapons keep ready guard.
So you're going one across at a time.
Yeah.
You've got you're taking the center plank that's across. You got the guide rope above. Okay. If you're only going one at a time, no roll is needed because normally it'd be a dex check on +2 on your at a +2, which in other words it's +2 on your ability to roll under. However, since you got that guide rope about there, I'm going to do the OSR thing, and I'm thinking, that's safe enough. You don't need to make a roll, and it's only dangerous if you try to go more than one person across at a time. So if you're going one at a time, all of you are able to cross over, no problem. Nothing seems to come up from Nothing comes up from below to attack you. Once you get on the other side, you definitely notice now that you're closer and get a better look, you totally see that the ledges on either side are completely unsafe and would probably collapse once anyone got about halfway across. So yeah, you chose the proper way. Once you're all across, you're able to retrieve your rope. And I think we're at time. So I would like to do a little stars and wishes exercise at the end as a debrief. I usually prefer to do that off camera. So if that's okay with everyone, I am going to end the recording. Thanks everyone for watching.